Alright. This is James, and this will be the redux of the 50 sub special and also part 1 of What If Deku was an alien or part alien. So, that being said, if you want an explanation of who the Elan are, you can visit the 50 sub special, which will be the first video in this playlist, saved video in this playlist, and basically that is going to be treated as a reference. And I will also put a link in the description of that video to the wiki page for Elan's from Marvel. That being said, let's get into this. So, like I said in the original, I'm going to change a few things up from what the original post was, and then we'll get on with the story. So, instead of this last Elan being Zuko's great grandfather, he's going to be an ancestor that is a little bit further down the line. So basically, this Elan, he comes to like the world, and it's like a generation after quirks like started showing up and stuff, and some people did have like mutation quirks and everything. And so he makes his body look as close to a human's as possible that he can. And he is just going around and just kind of helping out people every once in a while, basically keeping to his own and everything. But one day he ends up saving a human, and he kind of like he fell in love with a human, and they end up having she ends up getting pregnant because things happen. And this Elan, he's thinking, was like, he doesn't know what's going to happen, because if this child is born and he's anything like his species with power and everything, it could cause a lot of trouble. So he morally, like, he doesn't think it's okay, but he's like, it's better than letting my own prodigy loose on the world without any road gaps. So he basically alters the child to be even more human-like and less Elan. And a lot of you are probably like, what are Elans? Because you probably are just watching this video without watching the first one. Well, in the Marvel universe, they're a species that have insanely strong psionic abilities. So that being said, he alters the DNA of his child to be more human-like, which causes like said child to like basically have like different types of psionic abilities. And over the generations and everything, like, it kind of gets watered down even more, to the point where he, like, his descendants will exhibit quirk-like abilities with psionic constructs and minor healing abilities and stuff like that. And people will just think that it's just like a quirk, because quirks are starting to like arise, special abilities and powers and stuff. But their family's abilities and everything will actually derive from a genetic inheritance from their parent, from like their ancestor who wasn't actually human. So that being said, and before anyone goes like, oh, but like quirks aren't like genetic. Well, like mutation quirks are a prime example of like how it is true that quirks are like closely related to like the genes that you inherit from your parents, because you have characters like Froppy, who all the members of her family are frog-like or toad-like. So that being said, we're going to get into the story. A young, like Hisashi, it looks more human-like than like other members of his family. But other members of his family do have like darker skin. With Hisashi though, his antennae aren't like really that big, and his his um his quirk, quote unquote, and unquote quirk, allows him for close to his original, but he can also create like kind of like flaming constructs around his hands and stuff. But they're like not really that strong. Basically, like if someone wanted to like light like a match or something, he can like flick it on his hand and just like kind of like light like their cigarette or something for it, or like a campfire. It's not like really strong flames. So, and his skin is slightly discolored. Like it does have a different discoloration than like a normal human skin. But this is just chalked up to like a mutation quirk that is kind of passed on to like family members and stuff, because all the members in his family do have different colored skin, have an abnormal colored skin. And doctors just like they think they have a mutation quirk because of like through DNA testing, like their genetics look kind of weird. But it's just, they're like, whatever, it could just be like a family quirk that affects like their skin color and their DNA a little bit. So that being said, we get to Izuku. And Izuku's born, and he has more alien features than his dad did. Like his dad has a normal amount of like fingers and digits, and like has normal feet. Izuku's going to be missing like a digit on each one. So instead of five phalange on his hand, he's going to have four, including an opposable thumb, and it's going to be the same with his feet. Basically, he's missing his pinky finger and his pinky toe. And his skin is considerably greener than like his father's. And they're worried about this. So like when Izuku gets a little bit older and like he starts school, kids are picking on him and everything, and he comes home crying, and he's like, I don't want to go back to school. Everyone there is mean. And so like Hisashi and Inko calls Hisashi up and like says like Izuku's getting bullied because of his looks and stuff, and Hisashi's like, yeah, I kind of feared that would happen. Like, I sort of went through the same thing when I was a kid. Inko, I'm sorry I'm like not in the country to like help out with this, but work and everything, and we are gonna have to get Izuku into some counseling to like deal with this, because if it goes untreated, he could end up like my cousin who became a criminal because of all the bullying and stuff, and his parents never really helped him out, like deal with those emotions of looking different than like other people do. And so the next day, Inko takes Izuku to like this counseling facility that deals with special cases of children. And a lot of people are going to say I get this from Kirishima, but there are other YouTubes that have brought up, and it is implied in the series that kids with mutation quirks that make them look differently, there are programs set up to like give them some counseling on like their quirks. So it's not really an original idea. I just won't use like his OC that deals with like quirk counseling. I'll like each what if that I do that would involve Izuku needing like counseling for his quirk. I will change up where it's like different doctors and stuff like that because each quirk's going to be different. But I do credit Kirishima for this like idea because I don't see too many other YouTubers that would do this and like really delve into this topic, and it's such a great topic because you can develop a character really good. So that being said, I would say Izuku's is about like 5 years old, and like he's about 6 years old, I would say, and he's just like been getting bullied really hard, and like it's one of those days he comes home and he's like, Mom, I don't want to go back to school. All the kids are mean, always get picked on. Like, why couldn't I look like you? Why do I have to look like a freak? And Inko, being the good mother and everything, ends up calling Hisashi and talking to him, like I said before, and she comes. So the next day, she takes Izuku to this facility, this hospital that's known to help kids that are born with mutation quirks that, for lack of better terminology, give them certain physical deformalities or mutations. Basically, where they don't look like a normal human being. So they're she's talking with like the therapist and everything, and they're saying, well, has his quirk really like come in yet? And he goes like, yeah, he has a quirk similar. He has a quirk that's kind of like a mixture between my quirk and his father's. Like, unlike his father's, it's not flames, but like mine, it's more intangible. But like you can kind of see like light constructs forming around his hands and feet. And they're like, oh, that's kind of interesting. We never really like heard about a quirk that's like that. So Izuku, like a few years pass, like a year passes, and he's been going to and from like this hospital like for a weekly visit, like weekly therapy sessions with a therapist. And he's been talking, and the therapist asks him, like, would you like to meet someone that kind of has the same affliction that you have? And he's like, yeah, like, that would be awesome, because, like, there's no kids, like, where, in my neighborhood that have a quirk like mine that changes their physical appearance. So, like, the doctor's like, well, we're going to have to ask her, but we're going to have to ask her and her family, but we're pretty sure that she wouldn't that this would be good for both of you, because it seems like you two really haven't seen too many kids that have a different appearance than like other kids. And she tells Deku, like, I think this would be really good for both of you to, like, kind of meet someone that is sort of like you. And when Izuku gets home, like, that afternoon, like, he's kind of excited about this, because he's like, I'm gonna finally be able to meet someone that that sort of looks like me, and, like, I can, like he spends like the whole week thinking about this, getting bullied at school, and the bullying's like a little bit more harder from Katsuki and everything, from Kajan. And it's not like in canon where he's getting picked on for being quirkless. He's getting picked on for having such a useless quirk that all it does is give him antenna and basically turns his skin like slightly green, and his eyes are like look weird because of where like the white would be. It's like a faint green. And so like Izuku's like just gets picked on but like this, and he's not really like paying attention to this, which kind of pisses Katsuki off a little bit. And he's like whatever, and just like kind of leaves Izuku alone for like a couple of days. Well, the following Saturday, because he does have his sessions, this counselor has like contacted Shido's parents. Yes, it's going to be our girl Ashido that he meets, because like I was thinking about how to do this. And like, cause I had two options that he could like have a childhood friendship with. It was either Suyo or Ashido. And it like I've like thought about it for like a couple of days, like going over ideas and stuff, basically using up 4 pages of ideas to like really refine my idea, because when I record the 50 sub video, I didn't script, I didn't like jot down stuff and like really go over it and think about the story. I was just giving an explanatory about like what Elans were in a general sense of how the story would go along. So that being said, we get back to the story, and Izuku shows up, and the counselor comes out and everything, and the counselor's like, yeah, like she's basically has gone through some of the similar things, and like be careful what you say. And he's like, yeah, I get it, but it's like, what do they look like? And it's like, well, how about we go inside and like I introduce you to? And he's like, yeah, like I want to do this. So the counselor asks Izuku to like sit outside real quick while she goes in and like reaffirms that it's okay with the kid that he's going to be introduced to. So she comes out a minute later and like brings Izuku in, and both Ashido and Izuku kind of look at each other. They're like, it's, and Ashido like being like more outgoing and everything, because it seemed from like flashback videos in the anime and like some panels like where they reference their past, Shido seems like this like more happy kid. She hasn't really gotten picked on because like kids like in her school, she does have like friends that make her feel better, but she does need counseling because she does get picked on a little bit. She kind of runs up to Izuku and she's like, you must be Midoriya. Like, I heard about you from our doctor, and she thinks it would help both of us out, like dealing with the effects of our quirks and everything. And she's like, I think it's kind of cool that your skin's green. And Izuku kind of like looks down, and she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to like offend you. It's just, well, as you can see, my skin's a little bit pink, and because of the nature of my quirk, it may like get darker like over time. So, like, I'm sorry." And Izuku's like, "No, it's okay. It's just I never thought I would meet someone that looks kind of like me." And like they spend like a couple hours like with the counselor, and then they spend like some minutes, and like over this day, like they're going over the differences in like their physical appearances, and like really connecting, because there's not too many people in the world that look like them. And Izuku, like towards the end, like kind of asks her, like, has anyone like ever called you like a freak alien or something? And she kind of like, yeah, but I kind of just like let it roll off my shoulder, because honestly, like, who wouldn't want to look like an alien? Like, aliens are so like, I think like you think like it would probably be like really cool to like really meet like a real life alien. We're sort of like that, unbeknownst to like both of them and like the world as a whole. But Izuku technically is an alien, or at least he's part extraterrestrial. So that being said, like over the years, Izuku basically gets transferred to the same school as Ashido, like on Izuku's on the counselor's like request, or vice versa. But I'm going to lean more towards Izuku getting transferred. And they still live in this neighborhood. It's just Izuku has to get up really early to like get to school and everything. And people are like, some people who watch like What Else, and they like expect here's a like side we're gonna sidebar like this What If episode so that I can explain some cultural differences that I know of because of college buddies that I've talked to and everything. In Japan, it's not uncommon for young kids to go to school by themselves taking the train. And people are like, oh, like my American viewers or my European viewers may watch this and think like this is kind of irresponsible to like kids go about doing like going to school and traveling by themselves. You can't, in my opinion about it is, you can't really judge another culture for how they operate, because you're putting your own morals and ethics on someone that grew up completely different from yourself. And to me, that's slightly ignorant. With that being said, let's get back into the stories. So Izuku like sees leaps and bounds in his mental progress. He's in the same school as Ashido and everything, and like they become really good friends. And eventually, like, they meet Kirishima, and Kirishima's like, "Whoa, you guys look pretty cool." And Izuku kind of like looks down a little bit, and Kirishima's like, "Did I say something wrong?" And I would say they're about 9 at this time, 9-10 years old at this time. And then Ishina's like, "No, he's just for a lot of." For when he was like really young, he used to get picked on a lot by his appearance and everything, And Kirishima like apologizes to Izuku, and Izuku's like, it's okay, man. Like, it's just, I'm not really confident in my appearance. And like Kirishima's like, so is that why you're always like wearing a hoodie and stuff? And he's like, yeah, like, I know it's dumb and people don't really pick on me here. It's just, it's like, I don't really like my antenna. And Kirishima's like, and he's like, well, I apologize, but like, I think it's cool. I think they're cool. And Izuku's quirk has developed to where like he can produce these psionic barriers around his arms and legs, and he can kind of like reinforce kicks and punches and stuff like that. So he has like over the years kind of looked up videos and stuff on like hand-to-hand combat, and has like learned he's kind of like the bad kid in school, like people haven't really messed with him. Like when he first started, like they did start bullying him and stuff, and he just kind of like lost it one day and basically pummeled his bully, like the kid that was picking on him. And after that, people kind of left him alone because like he was like, they were like, whoa, like you mess with that kid, he'll mess you up. And that didn't stop kids from like over the years and stuff like beating up on him and everything. And when Kirishima like hears this, he's like, wait, you're that Midoriya? And Izuku's like, not again. Are you someone that wants to fight? Because I really don't like doing that. It's not something I enjoy doing, beating up on people. And he's like, no, man, like your quirk's kind of cool. Like I wish my quirk was like a good quirk like yours. And then Izuku's like, what do you mean? And it's like, you want to look like a freak? And Ashido kind of like slaps him on the shoulder, and she's like, you're not a freak. Stop saying that. You're always like this. And Izuku's like, I'm sorry, Ashido. It's just, whatever. And then Kirishima's like, no, like, I have a weak hardening quirk and everything. And then Izuku's like, well, my quirk hasn't always been this strong. I used to only be able to, like, produce these barriers around, like, my fingers and, like, just, like, the tippy toes of my feet and everything. And Kirishima's like, what? But it seems like it doesn't look like that. And he's like, well, I kind of had to, like, learn how to, like, do this and everything. Like, from what my mom and my dad have told me, I've pretty much had these abilities since birth. And, like, I did hurt myself. Like, I did hurt someone when, kind of, like, hurt my mom a little bit when I was younger. When, like, I went to go grab her, and, like, I used too much. I don't know, it's weird to explain, like, how my quirk works. Like, I don't entirely understand it myself, but I've had to learn how to control it better, and over the years, like, I've been able to increase the area and potency of them. And Izuku was like, what do you mean? And he, like, kind of looks at Ashido, and he was like, is it okay? And she's like, I don't feel comfortable doing this because I know what you're thinking. And Izuku picks up a rock and everything, and like he holds it. He throws it to Ashido, and he's like, show him your quirk. And Izuku is like Ashido, like Izuku kind of like encourages Ashido to like show off like her quirk, like her acid. And she basically corrodes the rock, and then Izuku, like, like right at that instant, like grabs her hand and then like kind of picks up the acid a little bit in his hand and then just like drops it and creates like a small like thing in the ground. And Ishina's like, Izuku, that was like dangerous. Like I could have hurt you. Izuku's kind of like, whatever. Like you wouldn't have hurt me. This is something I've kind of learned after like an accident. If you don't remember destroying my favorite hoodie. And she's like, "Oops, sorry about that. I really didn't mean to." And it's like, it's okay, but. And so Izuku goes into how, like, both her, like, him and Ashido have basically had to learn how to control their quirks because they are kind of dangerous. And he explains that it does, like, he doesn't think anyone ever really has a useless quirk. It's just how people view others that look differently kind of forced him to like work on his quirk. And he like asked Kirishima, he's like, so what like your quirk, what you can do? And he's like, well, I can somewhat do what you do, but like I can harden my fingers and like a little bit of my forehead. And he's like, well, that sounds pretty cool. Like, have you ever like tried increasing it across your body? And it's like, yeah, like when I was younger it was just like my fingertips, but then one day like I got hit in the head by a ball and just my body instinctively like hardened that area, and ever since then I can harden it. And Izuku's like, well, maybe you should try working on that. Like you have a pretty useful quirk and it's sort of like mine, but like completely different, you know. And so the next 4 years, I will go over in the next part. I hope like I said, like this, like unlike my What If series about Izuku having a hybrid quirk, I'm gonna spread out the world building over the course of 4 to 5 episodes, and so this series will be a little bit longer than the hybrid because of the amount of episodes that I will have made for it. That being said, like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know down in the comment section if you want me to continue this version of the story. And I really like this version because you can do some pretty amazing things with it. That being said, thank you for the views and the 75 subscribers upon like the recording of this. And I have something really special for my 100 sub special. It's another series that I've actually thought about for a while. And a few YouTubers have already done this type of what if. So that being said, enjoy your day and thank you for like all the support.